I'm grateful. Went through it, got through it, got past it. I'm grateful. I learned a lot of lessons about trusting people. And you can't expect everyone to think like you. You can't expect everyone to show you the same kind of love that you show them. You can't. And the best thing you can do when you're not getting that reciprocation after you've tried is to move on. Like, why push something to work? Why squeeze something to work that's not working? It's one-sided, and that's why it's not working. And that's why I learned to be by myself for a long time, just because I just want to avoid all that drama. I want to avoid all that heartache. I want to avoid all that mess. Especially when I see the same kind of characters coming to me. I've been down this road with this character, and I see the same character in you. When you approach me, the stuff that comes out of your mouth, it's the same kind of language from exes. And so that's how I always avoided, like, different obstacles, different things that could be potential hazards to me, to my heart, is by saying, oh, I see you from a mile away. I know that talk. I know that vibe. I know how the way you carry yourself. You carry yourself the same way exes carry themselves. And thanks, but no thanks. Thanks, but no thanks. I've been there, done that. I don't want to go through that again. So yeah, everything you go through should be a learning experience and not a cycle. You learn from that experience and say, oh, okay, I've been down that road. I know that type. I know that vibe. I know that energy. And I don't want to be caught up in that. So I'd rather protect my space, protect my energy, protect my peace by being single until I find the right person. And that might be a while. You might be alone for a while. But it's better than feeling alone when you're in a relationship. I think that's the worst kind of loneliness, is when you're in a relationship and you still feel alone. I'm not talking about being single and still feel alone, because when you're single, you can kind of eventually learn to love yourself by yourself. But when you're with somebody and you keep holding on and you keep trying to change that person, you keep trying to make that person be what you want them to be, you're not really focusing on yourself. And just mainly, instead of trying to build them up and fix them, fix yourself. And in the midst of fixing yourself, the right person might come along that might be on the same wavelength as you. We got to understand that not everybody's on the same wavelength. Some people are on that wavelength where I just want to have fun. And hey, what works for them is fine. Don't get entangled in someone that just wants to have fun if that's not what you're into. If you're into really being in a monogamous relationship, strong relationship that you can build on, then you definitely don't want to search for somebody that's out to play, because it just doesn't mix. And I know people say all the time, well, you got to build a person up. You got to be there through the thick and thin. How many men are sitting around, like, being with a woman that you just seen her with 3, 4, 5 different guys throughout the week? How many men are doing that? But people expect women to be like that. It's not fair to have that double standard. I understand you look at us like we're strong enough to handle being cheated on and being played and have our feelings being played with. We're strong enough to handle that because we're women. But in the same, you can say that about us, but in the same breath you can say, you need to stay in your place. you're not the dominant one, you need to stay in your place. But you just said I was strong. I was strong enough to handle your bullshit. But now I got to be in my place. So it just doesn't make sense. It's like, do what's best for you. That's all I can say. Do what's best for you. What you feel in your heart is best for you. And if you feel staying with the person that's messing around, that's only you. Only you can be the judge on what works for you. I know what worked for me is learning to love myself by myself. And that took some years. It took so many years that I've had people say, there must be something wrong with you if you're single. No, men approach me all the time, but I just choose not to indulge in that. And even, with my, present boyfriend, I wasn't interested. I wasn't looking for anything at first. And it took him having to show me something different for me to say, okay, I'll give it a try. But even after years of being single and saying, no, I'm good, I was still willing to be single even longer because I don't want that drama. I just don't want that drama. I don't. And so do what's best for you. And sometimes what's best for you is just learning to be happy with self. Because you can be in a relationship with somebody, you can be miserable because you haven't learned you. You haven't learned your worth, and you haven't learned what you're going to settle for and what you're not going to settle for. And yeah, it hurts to say, I'm not going to settle for this. It does hurt. But it's better to try to fix that by saying, I'm not going to settle for this. And let that person know I'm not settling for this. I'm going to move on. If you're not on that page, I'm moving on. Let that person know ahead of time rather than pushing it under the rug and saying, okay, I'll work on it later and pretend like you didn't just hear what he just said, or pretend you didn't just see what he just did, or pretend you didn't. We're talking about females too, but I'm talking about men because I'm going by my experience. If there's women out there that act like men too, and you don't, and pretend you don't see something when you did, then I'm talking to you too. But the issue is that understanding that the more you allow something to happen, the more the cycle is going to continue, and the more time is going to pass by, and you're going to wake up and you're going to be like, who am I with? I just wasted years of my life thinking that things was going to change, and it's the same way. It's the same way. So whatever frequency you're on, build on your frequency. And if that means being by yourself, do that. Build on that frequency, that ball of power you have in your hands, in your soul. You have something within you that you can build on, that you're not tending to because you're trying to fix somebody. And so whenever I would have a breakup, my biggest revenge was, I'm gonna better myself. I'm gonna better myself. I really am. And that was at times just going back to school and fixing my skill and my talent and building on that, and not allowing myself to walk around not taking care of myself just because I'm sad, because I'm alone. No. And I'm not saying like, hey, sometimes you don't feel like doing your hair, sometimes you don't feel like doing your face, sometimes that's fine. I'm not saying you have to like get all dolled up for people or get all dolled up just in general. It's whatever you feel. But I'm just saying that I think the biggest revenge is when you can better yourself. Because a lot of times you'll see you go on bettering yourself, and then years down the line, and you look back, and a lot of these people that you left behind are still where they're at. They're still in that cycle and doing the same type of abuse to somebody else. and you were lucky enough to say finally, you know, I'm not taking this anymore. I'm gonna go this way. I'm gonna go over here. I'm gonna go over here. You can be over there. Do whatever you want. Do you? I'm gonna be over here, and I'm bettering myself. And that's the biggest revenge you can do. That's the biggest revenge, especially if you got social media and all the people from your past see like where you're at, like the mentality you're at, the way you carry yourself, the person they lost. I think that's the biggest revenge right there. And I'm not even wishing for anybody to feel bad or anything. I'm just happy that I've moved on, and I'm happy that I'm in a better place, and I'm happy that I'm a better person. And yeah, I have my own flaws and my own doubts and my own problems. Everyone has problems, but I at least try to avoid hurting people if possible.